Tommy, how are things?
Good.
To start with, I suppose I might just kind of recap on the end of last season. How nice was it kind of coming into camp last week as having lifted a bit of silverware a few days earlier?
Yeah, it was awesome. Paulie, in fairness to him, gave us a bit of a hat tip, so obviously it's good for Ireland whenever any provinces are winning trophies. So it's nice to kind of have that pep in your step coming in here.
Did the kind of performances of the last couple of weeks with Leinster, did that just kind of raise a lot of confidence, not just with the Ireland players coming in, but around the squad in general?
I think so, yeah. Like, it's good. Obviously, we had a bit of disappointment in the Champions Cup, and then the great thing was that we obviously had the chance to right that with a couple of games in the URC, and to finish the season with a trophy was good, and we all have a bit of confidence coming into this summer series now.
From your own point then, it was a season that started in a really, really tough way. How pleased are you with the way you've managed to work yourself back and get yourself into the position you're in now?
Yeah, delighted. As you said, it's a very frustrating start. Felt like I had a really good pre-season, and then did my hamstring in the first game and took a few months to get back, but I've loved my rugby the last few months, and loved just getting a run of games, and it's kind of something I haven't really had in my career, is getting an extended period of games, and thankfully that tied in with the trophy.
I remember speaking to you back in December or so when you were just coming back from that hamstring injury, and you still seem very, very confident even back then, but has it been tough over the last few years to stay confident when you have keeping getting those knockbacks?
Yeah, I guess I've known what I can do in training. It's obviously behind closed doors, so the general public wouldn't see it, but I get a bit of confidence what I was doing, and the fact you're training in Leinster with such high level players, such international quality players. So I took a bit of confidence from that, and I felt I just needed to get a chance to get a couple of games under my belt.
Does it take a very kind of like cold approach to separate your own abilities from injuries knocking you back and stay confident?
Yeah, injuries wise, I guess it was a weird one. I always would have been able to come back and have full faith. I think it's probably a credit to all the physios, but I never really felt like coming back that I was running at 80% or 75% or whatever. Once I was back, I felt like I had full confidence in myself to be able to do whatever I felt like I needed to do.
And just lastly then for me, how has it been over the last week or so with this group? Because it's probably drawn from a much wider berth than most of the Irish squads would be, where you have a much, I suppose, even split between the four provinces.
Yeah, no, it is class. There's obviously a few guys who I would have known from that A game that we played, and then also there's guys who are pretty established in here that have been in here. So it's interesting. There's guys stepping up who maybe wouldn't have been speaking up more in previous senior roles in here, who are stepping up, and then there's guys coming in who are really excited, kind of first time in here, that are adding a lot of excitement as well.
Thanks, John.
Tommy, did you captain any of the guys in the squad when you were 20s?
There have been a couple of guys I played 20s with, yeah. Tom O'Toole, Jack Ainger. I'm probably missing a few more, but yeah, there's a good few, and I would have known a few from my first year of 20s as well.
Is there a kind of collective push amongst the squad because this is an opportunity? I think it's 12 year uncapped, so obviously it's a huge opportunity. Everybody wants to play. The coaches were saying that they're going to try and facilitate that if it's possible. So obviously there's a lot of fighting. Are you also in the market for a centre, or is it just strictly wing?
I'm dying to play a game for Ireland, so wherever they play me, I'll happily play. I think, yeah, I probably have been viewed more as a winger at the moment, but if that's wing, if it's centre, if it's that 23-year-old, yeah, I'm happy to play wherever.
Is there an excitement in being in here? I know you've been obviously with Training Class before, but is there an excitement where there is the prospect of the first cap for Ireland, as you just touched on?
Yeah, 100%. There's obviously different people, like, so the Leinster guys would have come just almost straight in from playing, but some of the other guys would be chomping at the bit. They would have been training away behind the scenes for the last few weeks, so everyone's chomping at the bit to get some rugby under the belt. And then obviously it's what you dream of as a kid, is getting to represent your country, and as you said, there's 12 of us in here who haven't done it yet, so fingers crossed now as many of them can get that first cap.
Have you watched any footage of Georgia? Has there been any of that yet, or is that to come?
It's to come, I think, yeah. We obviously know they're a very proud rugby nation, unbelievably physical, and they have a good few players play top 14 kind of rugby, so we know some of them from that. So that's something that we'll definitely look into, but we know they're a very proud emerging nation.
Thank you.
When you've had a few injuries, I suppose, at the start of the season, do you kind of feel very fresh, I suppose, now, getting a good run at it?
Yeah, no, it probably is something that potentially stood to me. I think I played, was it 13, 14 games this year, whereas some guys would be in the 20s. It's not something I trade. I would have rather play the 20-something games, but as you said, yeah, it's almost as if my season started in February or whatever when I started playing games. So I'm enjoying that now, and the body's feeling good.
And playing at a province like Leinster, obviously so many top class players there. Like, is it a good opportunity to learn off, the likes of James Lowe, I suppose, Jordy Barrett, lads might be in around your position as well.
Yeah, you're always tested, and you kind of have to be on it in training the whole time, or else you're going to be showing up. The guys I would have been training with 3 years, but yeah, as you touched on, Jordy is kind of someone that would have had maybe a few different perspectives, a few different ideas. So that was awesome to kind of get those kind of different opinions on things.
What did you learn off him during his time with Leinster?
He would just pose different questions, I guess. Like, we'd be in meetings, and there's obviously an element of groupthink when you've been like shown the same footage, had the same coaches for a while, and he's coming in from a different background. Nothing specific. He would just be saying, why don't we try this? Have you ever thought of this? In terms of maybe defensive reads or like something like that. So he's a bit of a maverick in some sense, that he just reads the game and has he knows what he can do. So if he sees something, he has full faith and just goes and does it himself, and people just generally react off that.
Thanks, Derek.
You've kind of had a sort of a meteoric comeback in terms of where you've been in 2025. So you've had disappointment beforehand, and if we go right up, you have an A cap or an Emerging Ireland cap or whatever we want to call it. What did you learn on the Emerging Ireland game? That's all it was, and it was a completely strange game. You had to rechange everything at the start. There was loads of injuries. And can you tell us what you know about Paul O'Connell now that you didn't know then?
Sorry, can I just, it was an A international, just for clarity. Yeah, just for clarity,
Yeah, it was against England, yeah, as you said. We got like a few HIAs early and ended up down 6-2, so we ended up completely jigging around the back line. So we didn't unfortunately get to play as much rugby as we like to, but I was just kind of hit with the physicality of that kind of, it was a level up on what I've been used to. I enjoyed it, but it was definitely, and obviously we didn't get a great result that day, but it's definitely made me realise there's definitely that physicality element. Paulie, I actually he was my under-20s World Cup. He was the forwards coach for our under-20s World Cup. So I had a little exposure to him. That was kind of the start of his coaching career. And he's obviously done a great job in here. But yeah, massive respect for Paulie. He was an unbelievable leader as a player, and he kind of commands that same respect as a coach.
And can I just suggest that, I can tell you who I thought played well there, but certainly one of the players that you're vying for a place with played absolutely brilliantly there, Shane Bolton. How are you getting on with him, or what do you make of him?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's an unbelievable athlete. He's scored a lot of great tries for Connacht this year, so he's like, there's really talented back three in here. You got Calvin, you got Jacob, you got Shane, you got Dermot Cagallan, you got Zach Ward as well. So I think we're spoiled for choice in the back three, so I'm just putting my best foot forward and want to try to get a cap myself.
And you hope it's not raining like it was there. That was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we should be safe enough in Georgia.
30 degrees, I think. Who's next? William.
Well, I'm just wondering, you're talking about the dynamics here of how this is set up, but it's very new. There's 12 new players, there's new coaches. Does it feel slightly different because of that there isn't as many people around who've done all these sort of camps before, and they're working hard in any camp they're in, but this is all very new, and there's a big prize at the end of it. Does it give it a different emphasis?
Yeah, I guess I was in for a week, the France week of the Six Nations, so that was my first exposure, and it's obviously an unbelievably intense week with it being a crucial game as part of that Six Nations. So, but to be honest, it feels similar in terms of people want to put their best foot forward. The standards that are expected haven't dropped at all. They're not giving people leeway because it's a lot of people in the new camp. You're given all the terminology early enough, and you're expected to spend the time and make sure you're up to speed, so that come training time and come match time you're ready to go.
And who sets that standard? Is that senior players, or is everybody involved in getting that level of intensity correct?
Yeah, I think the coaches know what to expect, and then, as you said, it's kind of senior players, guys who've been in here before. They know what's expected of the guys in here, and they perform at that level, and then it's up to everyone else to kind of stay up to that level as well.
What do you want to achieve out of
Yeah, I'd love to. Obviously, we know there's guys away. Lowy and Mack are away with the Lions, so there's 2 wingers there for Ireland. But I want to try put stake a claim and make myself a mainstay in this squad and try push. Obviously, there's this summer tour, and then you got November internationals and Six Nations and stuff. So definitely don't want to be a one-cap wonder. Definitely, hopefully, this is the start for me now of being in this squad and pushing for places.